So now let's move to the handlebars. Now on some sport bikes, what we may have, as we have with this particular bike, is that there is a forward and rear position on the handlebar. Now it's pretty subtle, but when you're riding the bike, the further forward the handlebar is, the easier it is to counter steer the bike. So it's, like I said, a very subtle adjustment here between this, the forward position, and that, the rear position. But when your hands are out on this end of the bar, that small difference can make a lot. So you want to make sure that you try both of these positions again, see what feels comfortable. Now the other important part is, where do the levers go in terms of your hand position? So Dave, go ahead, lean forward. So what you want to see here is that from his arms down through his wrist, the clutch should be a reach without having to flex your wrist up and reach for the clutch. So go ahead, reach for it. So you can see he's got to turn his wrist up to get to the clutch, and that's not helping us at all. So what we'll do is change the position of the clutch and lower it down a little bit, so that his reach is intuitive. It's much more forward, even though he's got to lift his knuckles up to go under. He doesn't have to change his wrist position to do that. So right about there looks pretty good. So we'll go and secure that. Now the other thing to check too is, you don't always necessarily sit in this position. A lot of the times, especially if you go to the track, you're going to be in a full tuck. So Dave, if you get into a full tuck as well, see how that flattens the wrist out because his elbows are down. Now it's a much easier reach this way. So both when you're riding at speed and also when you're relaxed and you're up riding in traffic, the ability to get to the clutch lever is easy without having to change your hand position. Okay, go ahead, sit back. Now we've done this with this side, so what we'd obviously do is go over to the other side and put the brake lever in the same position so that they're matched. So for somebody that has a little restrictive movement, remember there's all kinds of adjustability here with both levers to make it easy for you to reach those levers. So now let's move on to the brake lever. So we've already set the clutch lever here for Dave. Go ahead, lean forward. So let's, as you can see, he's got to lift his wrist up again. So we need to push this down. So let's push it down. Okay, and reach again. No movement in the wrist at all. So this is a position that we like. So let's go ahead and temporarily lock this in the spot we've got. Now the other thing that's really important on almost all bikes these days, you get an adjustability here for the position of the lever in terms of its distance from the handlebar. Now ideally, you want to be able to get that brake lever here on this portion of your finger, not in the crease and not on your fingertip. You want it in the strength area here. So if you look at Dave's hand right now, his crease is on top of the lever. So he's pulling just off of his fingertips, which doesn't have a great deal of strength. So what we can do is reposition this. So if you take your fingers away, Dave, let's give him the shortest throw on this and put it to number 6. Now you can see how much this gap has gone down. So let's see there. So now you can see immediately, even if he rests his fingers on top, he's right on that middle joint in the finger or the second joint. And as his fingers wrap around it, he's in a very strong position. So for him right now with this setup, that's where the lever should be. So bear that in mind, look at it carefully and see where your fingers are on the brake lever. So a lot of time is spent by professional racers, amateur club racers, in getting the bike and their body ergonomically correct so that they are extremely comfortable on the motorcycle. As this adjustability, as we've gone through in this episode, is in the bike, Why wouldn't you do the same for yourself? Spend a little bit of time, invest some energy, and make the bike fit you.